recording. Oops. Hi, ladies. Welcome to day 7 of the Strong Mom Fitness Challenge, which means whoop, we are officially halfway over. If you've made it this far, man, ready? Oh, that's your high five. Nice work. That's really exciting. And thank you to the ladies who came out for our live coaching call last night. That was a lot of fun to talk with you in person and to have an opportunity to answer your questions one-on-one. We will have another live coaching call next Monday, so please attend if you can. If you're unable to attend, but if you still have questions, you can email them to me, info@katieream.com. And you guys, don't be nervous. I know that sometimes live coaching can feel a little intimidating, but it's not. Remember, we are in this together. Today, we are going to continue our exploration of mindset around diet, health, and nutrition. Remember, the thing that makes this protocol challenge so different than any other nutrition challenge that you will ever do is that not only are we giving you the guidelines to be able to eat healthy and balance your hormones, but we're providing you with information and context so that you can identify your thoughts and set yourself up for success. Success not just with dieting, but success in most everything you do in your life. The skills and the lessons that we're learning in this 14-day challenge is something that you'll be able to carry on and apply to your relationships, with your significant other, with your children, your work, your own relationships, and your own job and goals. So yeah, it's a fun and exciting parallel of skills. And it's something that oftentimes people will say, you know, cognitive behavioral health coaching, that doesn't really make sense. What does food have to do with mindset? And I've noticed over the years that I have been doing this work that our relationship with food is indicative of our relationship with ourselves. If you are experiencing anxiety about food, if you're experiencing a constant kind of zoning out when you eat, if you're looking to food to provide stimulation or keep you from feeling isolated or lonely, it's, again, an opportunity to back up because it's not about the food. The food is an object that we are transferring our very normal human stress responses to. And unfortunately, because food is not something in our society that is polarized, like, for example, drugs or alcohol, we tend to not identify food as providing that coping mechanism for us. But indeed, as you've seen over the past 7 days and all of the lessons that we've learned about our hormones, the evolution of our brain development, the reasons why we fear and feel and need food in the ways that we do. It's very much a biological response that has been wired into us. And if we are not conscious of that response, we will push it to the limit and we will eventually get to the point of binge eating, overeating, emotional overeating. So again, that's what makes this challenge so different. Not only are you learning about nutrition and diet and how that can reinforce and help your body and your hormones, but you're learning about how to maintain a mindset that will set you up for long-term success. So I'm prefacing all of that because today we're talking about the mindset traps that put us at greater risk of not being successful in our pursuit of a healthy lifestyle. And again, considering the fact that the way we have a relationship with food is representative of our relationship in life, think about these mindset traps not just as they pertain to food, but as they pertain to everything we do in life. It's interesting because in my 6-week coaching program, before I start coaching clients, I have a one-on-one phone call with them. And it's basically an interview. We're interviewing each other just to see if we're a good fit. I mean, we're going to be spending a lot of time together over the course of 6 weeks. So we want to make sure that I'm providing a service to them that they need and that they also feel comfortable with me. So I can tell within that initial interview whether or not this is an individual who is going to be long-term successful in pursuit of their health goals. And it's really pared down to, I'll ask them, one of the first questions I ask them is, tell me about a time where you were successful losing weight and what was that like for you? And the answers that I get can be across the board, but the two answers that I get that most commonly are an indicator to me that they're probably not going to have long-term success is I just can't seem to lose weight, and that nothing ever works for me. Those two answers tend to be coming from a place of frustration, and also are very representative of these two mindset traps that we're going to talk about today. Before I get into it, let me assure you that if you have ever said those two sentences, don't beat yourself up, because we've all said them. Welcome to being human, right? And whether or not you consider yourself as being someone who has these tendencies dominantly, I'll also tell you that we as humans have demonstrated these tendencies. So again, don't be harsh on yourself. Don't think you are lesser of if you see yourself in these definitions. Know that this is an opportunity to learn about the way you handle and cope with stress, and it's an opportunity to readjust the way you handle and cope with stress. Keep an open mind, ladies. So let's talk first off. Well, first let's go through the agenda for today. So today, day 7, we're going to talk about these two mindset traps, and I'm going to get into the specifics of what those mindset traps look like. And then we're going to talk about our homework for day 7. And then I'm going to give you a quick preview of day 8. Okay, let me adjust this camera a little bit. Let's see. Can you guys see I'm wearing a dress? This is what happens when you work from home. You get excited, you're wearing a dress, right? I'm not wearing shoes though. Does that count? Okay, 2 major mindset traps that we tend to fall into whenever we are pursuing a diet, health, lifestyle change. Those 2 traps can be summarized as our tendency for perfectionism and emotional immaturity. So let's talk about perfectionism. This seems to be a word that is like a hot topic button for a lot of individuals lately, and particularly women, that we over-identify as perfectionists. So what does it mean to be a perfectionist? Essentially, you are seeking to do things perfectly, right? It's an opportunity, and not only that, but it's reinforced through outside. It needs to be reinforced from the outside. How do I know if I'm doing something perfectly if I don't have someone patting me on the back and saying, good job, good job? We see perfectionism, these tendencies, a lot in the fitness industry. If you were not seeking a physique that you felt was physically appealing or sexually attractive, I mean, you have to be somewhat of a perfectionist to want that, because we get reinforcement from outside people, from other men, from our own husbands, from our family members. Gosh, you're looking good, you're looking good. That outside stimulation and reinforcement does indeed appeal to this perfectionist tendency that we all have. But know that, so perfectionism can be a good thing, but know that it borders on a neurotic behavior as well. And so perfectionism is different from precision. So for example, a perfectionist may organize a kitchen and get overwhelmed with the display of the forks and may just quit because they cannot get it just right. Whereas precision is, I'm going to focus on one thing at a time and be very precise in that specific movement. So I hope that distinction is clear. When we're working on a project and we're being precise, that's very different from working on a project and being perfect. We're talking in this instance about perfect, wanting to have it absolutely perfect, every element and variable, and then taking that and seeking outside approval or reinforcement for that. The second mindset trap that we get into is emotional immaturity. So what does that mean exactly? When we were children, we were all emotionally immature, correct? We did not have a sense of internal accountability. Our parents were responsible for us. If something bad happened to us, it was very much, we could blame it on those who were responsible for us. But once we hit a certain level of maturity, I don't know, brain psychologists say, you know, around 25, when our prefrontal cortex has fully developed, whether or not that is the defining line of, oh, you're supposed to be emotionally mature now. I guess one is to see. But essential emotional maturity is the ability to take personal accountability for your decisions, to have planning and cognitive reasoning, and for understanding the logic and the emotions. So we're not so myopic in our decision making. I can see things as an emotionally mature person. I can see a situation with a wider lens versus a very narrow lens that only impacts me. Emotionally immature people very much, or someone who tends to have emotionally immature behaviors, tend to blame others for actions, tend to look to external circumstances or situations for a cause, and are also will have a hard time getting over emotional situations. They can't step back and have that wider lens and that perspective. And so you can see with these two definitions, we all do them at varying times in our lives. But what's interesting is that when it comes to diet, fitness, and lifestyle changes, we tend to really, really do those things. So the next step is we're going to go through some of the big kind of triggers that we can help use to identify whether or not we're here. So as I'm going through them, look for yourself in some of these, because I guarantee you're going to find yourself here. Okay, so traits of the diet mindset trap. So the all or nothing mentality. Oh man, this is a big one for me. What's underlying this all or nothing mentality? We live in extremes. I'm either super freaking Gwyneth Paltrow healthy, or I am burying my nose in Ben & Jerry's. It is a either or. This mentality really is kind of characterized by this idea that you're going to fall off the wagon after one bad night, right? So one bad night of drinking, and that's it. Like, I'm drinking for the next 6 months. I've put my hands up in the air. If I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. It's also characterized by an unwillingness to fail. So if we set standards or expectations for ourselves and we're unable to adhere to those expectations, instead of just picking ourselves up and saying, I guess I couldn't do it, we just decide, screw it all, I'm not doing anything. So instead of adopting or modifying our plan or learning from our failure and moving on, we just say, screw it, hands up in the air. It's really characterized by this idea of I'm not good enough. So an all or nothing kind of approach, the undercurrent thought that I've found to be most common is I, as a person, am not good enough to be able to do this right. So I'm not going to do it at all, or I'm going to make every attempt to do it wrong. So think about that for a second. If you've seen yourself in this all or nothing mentality, is there perhaps a thought in the back of your head that you as a healthy individual can't do it, that you are not good enough to earn or have a right to live in the body that you are destined to live in? If this thought is there, check it at the door, girl, because it's not going to get you anywhere, and it is not based in fact at all. So the all or nothing mentality really is kind of bordering on that perfectionism trait. So check it. If you see yourself coming into that all or nothing behavior, what is the thought that's behind it? And do a thought model on it. The other mindset trait that people exhibit are unrealistic expectations of themselves. So an example of this is, I follow a fitness model on Instagram. She has a gorgeous body. I want her body. Oh, look at that. She's selling a diet plan. She's telling me that if I just eat everything that she's eating, I'm going to look like her. I get the diet plan. I have this expectation that I will adhere to it like clockwork. And then I'll get a body that looks just like her. It's not a realistic expectation. That's not an expectation of a health, lifestyle, or fitness change that is sustainable or that you even own. That's not something that you have adopted internally. That is an external expectation, an idea of what you or your health or fitness lifestyle is going to look like, and you don't make the effort to do it yourself. So an unrealistic expectation is also can be characterized by thoughts like, oh gosh, I wish I could only get the body that I had when I was in high school. Or, which is silly because, I mean, give me a break. We're not in high school anymore. You're not going to have that body anymore. You get a new body. As pregnant mamas, we do this so much in our postpartum. I want my pre-baby body back. I want my pre-baby. You don't get a pre-baby body. Like that's not even logical. It's not logical. You're getting a new body, girl. So make it kick ass. Whatever it is, set your expectation to be real. It's really characterized by this unrealistic expectation kind of mentality is characterized by the idea that kind of the undercurrent thought is basically, I can't do this. Like, this is too hard. This requires too much. I have this idea that in order to be fit or healthy, it's huge. It's this enormous, abrupt lifestyle change, and therefore it's going to provide a huge and abrupt result. So it's not. It's definitely the thought that's usually behind that feeling is that I'm not capable of doing this. So again, an unrealistic expectation borders on that perfectionism mentality. Another one that's really common is discomfort with being uncomfortable. Okay, ladies, I'm getting real with you. Like, if you want to lose some pounds, it's going to be uncomfortable. It really is. You're going to have to harness the mental strength, the mental constraints to not eat the cookies. And at first, that's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be mentally uncomfortable, and it will register in your body as physically uncomfortable. But a diet mindset trap says, I'm uncomfortable. I can't do this. This isn't working for me. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Why can't I do this? Why can't I just control my urges? Okay, you're going to get urges. That's just the way it goes. You're a human being. So as soon as we decide that we want to go on a diet, not because it's discomforting, but because it's comforting, that's when we stop dieting. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's okay. It's not going to kill you. And when I say discomfort, I don't mean I don't mean like, well, you guys know, like, I don't mean this severe restriction where you're deprived. I just mean that you're going to have situations where a previously reinforced habit, for example, at lunchtime, and you usually drink a Coca-Cola, you're no longer going to drink a Coca-Cola. That's going to be uncomfortable. So be okay with that. Just if you're uncomfortable about being uncomfortable, really kind of check and back up about where you are with your emotions, because we would call that somewhere in the borderline of being a little emotionally immature, because an emotionally mature person recognizes that any feeling is just a feeling and you can handle any feeling. So being uncomfortable about not being able to drink the soda pop, being uncomfortable about watching your coworkers order pizza during lunch and then having to sit there and watch them eat the pizza, an emotionally mature person knows they can handle that. That's totally okay. That's not going to kill you. But when we make it bigger than what it really is, when we say, oh my God, you guys, this is so miserable that I have to sit here and watch you eat pizza. You're just blowing it out of proportion. It's just flipping pizza. You can survive. So another kind of mindset trap that we fall into is this idea that there's a good and a bad way of doing something, or a right and a wrong way of doing something. This is really reinforced. I've seen in social media that there is a creation of there's this idea that there is the right way to diet. We have to be a clean eater if we want to lose weight. We have to do the paleo diet if we want to lose weight. We have to intermittent fast if we want to lose weight. We have to cut out carbohydrates if we want to lose weight. The truth is, there is no good or bad way of eating. The way of eating that is right is the way that works for you. And that is going to take some experimentation. So if you find yourself eating, or if you find yourself saying, I can't do that, that's a bad food, or I can't go for a walk. You know, walking is not even an exercise. That doesn't count. There is step back a little bit and take that wider angle lens, because again, when we're looking at making lifelong health and fitness and lifestyle changes, what we're doing in this moment right now is what it's the consistency that matters, not the level of intensity and not the level of perfectionism. If eating a donut right now means that you will feel more emotionally capable of moving on later, then you need to call your brain into check, and maybe it's the donut that you need to eat. Again, you are the pilot of your brain. If this is a lifestyle that you are going to adhere to for the rest of your life, make sure that what you are doing right now is going to work for the rest of your life. So there, in that context, there is no good or bad or right or wrong. There is what works for you. Another big one is the guilt. This feeling guilty when we go off of our plan, when we eat in a way that is not within our intentions. Guilt, you know, you've stayed up late and you've eaten the whole package of Oreo cookies and you wake up the next morning with this sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach, a feeling of failure, again, of not being good enough. The guilt reinforces the feeling of anxiety. Chances are you went off the plan because you were seeking to escape a pre-existing feeling of anxiety. You guys getting me there? Anytime you eat to excess, a food that your body is not calorically needing or requiring, guarantee you there is a thought there that is causing you distress and you're trying to numb out. So if you numbed out last night, you wake up this morning and you feel guilty for numbing out, you're just creating more anxiety and stress. You're just adding to the cycle. You're creating the roller coaster. You're feeling anxiety over anxiety. We're gonna screw up. Screwing up meaning we are going to do things in life as human beings that we kind of wish we didn't do. That's the way it goes. The trick is when you do something that you wish you didn't do, you step back and you say, that was interesting. What was that about? What was going on in my head there? And then you learn about it. And then you take that information to help you create a new thought moving forward. So if you find yourself in the trap of always feeling guilty about eating something that is bad or something that you shouldn't be eating, step back. There's something more there. And by allowing yourself to wallow in that guilt, you are just reinforcing the very original cause as to why you ate or consumed something that you didn't want to. Another mindset trap that we get into, bam, I'm too busy. Okay, so our lives have so many different competing demands in them. If a major life event happens, or a life event happens in general that takes fitness, health, and lifestyle change from priority 1 to priority 3, that's okay. That is just the way it works. Think about this. This is a client that, this is an analogy that one of my clients used that I just thought was so beautiful. So if we think about a sled dog, so in life we have 3 priorities. And if we think about our 3 priorities in terms of the way a dog sled team works, this is an Alaskan example, can you tell? There's only one lead dog at any given time. Now, if those 3 priorities can be a lead dog, but they're not all 3 going to be a lead dog at the exact same time. So We're okay with that. Maybe at one time, dealing with your teenager's stress at school is going to be a lead dog. And then the next time, being able to deal with your work drama is going to be a lead dog. And then maybe the next time, going to the gym is going to be a lead dog. That's okay. The key is, while one is leading, the other two are still running. Stuff is still happening. There is still momentum going on. Again, we're looking for consistency. This is the narrow view versus the emotionally mature, wide view. How does this look in the context of everything else? The decisions that you make today are going to add up into long term. If your lead dog right now in your life is not an exceptionally awesome diet and fitness routine, that does not mean that you go back to an all or nothing and abandon it. No, it just means that that diet and fitness routine is still running. It's just not the lead dog. I hope that analogy makes sense to you. I thought it was really brilliant. But knowing that that diet and fitness don't necessarily have to rule our lives or be the lead dog at all times in order for us to be healthy, empowered, fit women, and in order for us to continue losing weight. So step back and examine if you are at a place where you're telling yourself, oh, I'm too busy to work out, or oh, I'm too busy to make dinners. Back up a little bit. What is it that's making you too busy? Is it really making you too busy to be able to make a healthy dinner? Is there something in your life that you're prioritizing right now that actually isn't important at all? And you should take it off the plate and then replace, put exercise as the lead dog. So think of it in the context of always switching back and forth. Who is the lead dog? But knowing that exercise and fitness and health are always running, even if they're not in the lead. Okay, so and then we're going to look at when we quit the plan. Oh, this is a good one, because this is one that people say a lot. We're quitting that diet. It doesn't work. A diet totally doesn't work. Really, when we say that diet doesn't work, we're negating responsibility. The diet didn't work. It wasn't the diet. It was you. You were the one that was dieting. So whatever you needed to have in place in order to reach your goals, a diet is only a one vehicle to help you get there. So if you quit completely moving forward in your goals because one diet did not work, you are definitely negating responsibility for your own health and fitness. Think about it this way. You are accountable for the choices that you make. And if you're not holding yourself accountable, then you're subconsciously sabotaging yourself. So that eating plan didn't work. The intermittent fasting sucked. It didn't work for me. I couldn't lose weight by eliminating sugar and flour from my protocol. This mindset piece is way too much work. I have way too much going on in my time. That's not working for me. Okay, that's all fine. But at the end of the day, your goal is still your goal. So quitting something is just you subconsciously sabotaging yourself. But instead of saying, I quit, I'm done, you choose to say, that didn't work. That's why I quit. So do you see how it's negating responsibility? Like, it wasn't anything to do with the diet or intermittent fasting or whatever. It was you. You made the choices not to devote the energy and attention and the thoughts that you needed in order to get the goals you wanted. Now, I hope that this doesn't feel disempowering, because in fact, it's supposed to be very empowering. Because if you want to reach your goals, it's you and your goals. Like, there is no magic pill, you guys. Like, maybe what I'm teaching you here is a vessel or a vehicle to help you get one step closer, or maybe you're not even in a place to be willing or able to hear this yet. And if that's so, that's okay. This is just one more step forward. You are fully responsible for getting the goals that you want. Not the diet, not the fitness plan, not the hot Instagram model that's going to sell you the food plan for $19.99 and an exercise plan for $39.99. It's not them, it's you. So just take that into account whenever you think about, I'm giving up because this didn't work, I quit. Yeah? Got it? The last one, we've kind of talked about it, but this idea of falling off the wagon. So again, one night of binging on Ben & Jerry's or whatever, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, that's it, I'm done, like, screw it. And now all of a sudden we're 6 months into it and you've gained all of the weight back because there was one night of eating poorly. And you can see how, again, this this mentality, this emotional immaturity, or not being able to see one night in the frame of all that it is, keeps you from ever getting your goals. It's another self-sabotage. So I hope that you guys can see yourself in some of these, because I can see myself in some of these. And the point is that once you identify it and then your brain goes here, because I guarantee, sister, your brain is going to go here. You can step back and be like, oh, I know what that is. And you can back up and you can just stop it right there. Instead of feeling like this, instead of thinking that this feeling or this experience is overwhelming and happening to you, you can recognize that, no, that's a result of a thought that I'm having, probably along the lines of just being emotionally immature or trying to be a perfectionist. And so I'm going to back up and I'm going to think of a different thought to have in order to help me get the result that I want. So again, if my result that I want is to lose 10 pounds, what is the thought I need to have? That thought that I need to have is that I can freaking do this, I can be disciplined, and I can live through discomfort. The feeling that that is going to generate is empowerment. The action that I'm going to take is accountability, keeping my food journal every day, adhering to the protocol, even when it gets hard. And the result is that I'm going to lose 10 pounds. You see how that works? So the magic medicine is not, like the magic pill is not whether or not a diet nutritionist or someone just gives you and hands you a formula for being successful in your weight loss goals. The magic is what is going on in here, because it doesn't matter what any fitness professional or what I give you. I can't ever make you show up. You have to show up. It's your job and your responsibility. If you're not getting the results that you want, you're not showing up. Got it? Okay. So we're going to apply some of this in our homework tonight. Continue to adhere to your protocol and to your food journal. Now, we're on day 7. Some of you may have felt like that was pretty easy breezy for the first 7 days. If it hasn't already happened, it's going to happen. You're going to have a backtrack and you're going to think, oh shit, this sucks. I don't like this anymore. Oftentimes women will have this around the time that they ovulate. Sometimes they'll have it right before their period as well, because those are increases in progesterone and estrogen. And as we've learned, those things impact the way our brain functions. So know that if it hasn't already happened, it will happen. You're going to struggle with your protocol and you're going to struggle with the journal. And when that happens, you can just be like, hey, okay, I was waiting for you. That's nice. I got it. Just keep moving on, okay? It's not a reflection of you. It does not mean that you are not perfect. It does not mean that this diet is not working. It means your brain is doing exactly what it wants to do, which is to be lazy, conserve energy, seek pleasure. So, you're right on track. I want you guys to check in. A few of you have been really diligent about posting your homework and sending messages. So let's go over to Facebook if you're on the Tribe Facebook page, or go to the website to our Facebook Tribe online forum, or send me a private instant message if that's more comfortable too. I just want to know how you're doing. Like, is this resonating with you? Have you lost any weight? Are there things that you wish you could see that you weren't seeing? You can just even send me a message and say, hey, I'm still alive. That'd be great too. So let's check in today, you guys. I want to hear you. The other homework. This is a great assignment. You're going to do one thing that scares you, and you're going to plan it in advance. So one thing that scares you, I don't mean like, go eat a donut or something. I mean like go out and talk to someone that you haven't talked to before. Go help an elderly woman push her shopping cart. Something that you normally would not do that causes a little bit of a, should I do that? I don't know. Do that thing. Oftentimes when we wake up in the morning, we'll have like a task list ahead of us, or something that we know we should do that we don't really want to do because it makes us uncomfortable. So think about that. That could be an opportunity to do something that scares you. There's a worksheet on the Strong Mom Tribe online forum that's going to ask you. I want you to wake up, record the thing that you're going to do that day. I want you to do your unintentional thought model, and then I want you to do an intentional thought model. How are you going to approach this thing that scares you? The goal of doing these thought models, lady, is that, remember, we have 60,000 thoughts going through our head every day, and we have blocked them out. So the goal of these thought models are for you to step back with a wider angle lens and identify the thought so that you can get the result that you want. So don't skip it. Please. It's awesomely powerful. And again, if the thought model is like if that confuses you, just message me. It's all good. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to talk about a recipe for long-term success. So you guys have a pretty clear idea of what your brain is going to do to try to sabotage you, and a pretty clear idea about why your brain does that. So where do we go from here? What type of commitment do we need? What about discipline? What does success long-term mean? What does it mean to live a hot and sexy, fit life till the day you die? How do you do that? What does that look like? So we're going to talk about it because I got a formula for success. And I wrote, do you have what it takes? Huh? Yeah, I know you do. Oh yeah. And that's it, ladies. Alrighty. See you later, and reach out if you need anything. Bye. Ciao.